On Thursday, Bryan was just 6 outs away from a no-hitter before the Mariners lost their third straight game being attacked in their Achilles heel. Welcome to the Dom Skeen channel, your one-stop shop for the Mariners storylines on Seattle's minds. And the Mariners lose 6-5 as the Yankees sweep the three-game set and the Mariners move to 48-45, 7 games back from the division lead from the Houston Astros in the AL West, and move 1 game behind the Boston Red Sox for the third wildcard spot. And while there's still plenty of time, 69 games left to play, you're in the toughest stretch of your schedule right now, with no scheduled off days excluding the All-Star break until August 4th, after the trade deadline. And you're facing the gauntlet of the top teams the AL has to offer going into that break. So we took 5 of 7 in a solid homestand. The lineup heated up, and the pitchers really found their groove against 2 really struggling lineups in the Royals and the Pirates. But the book remains out on the Mariners' hitting approach, and adapting to counter the massive volume of changeups and sliders they see on a daily basis is proving tough. And while the offense put up a respectable 5 and 6 runs the past 2 days, they struggled to hit the breaking ball late in the game once again, leading to another close loss in extras, which has happened several times over the past month. And with that being said, let's dive into the pitching in this game to understand what happened before taking a shot at addressing the why. You start with Bryan Woo's line, 7.1 innings pitched, 2 earned runs on 2 hits and 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, doesn't give up a homer in this one. The ERA still at 2.75 on the year. And Bryan Woo, I think it's 18 starts he's made. Credit to the Couch GM for posting this graphic today on Threads, but his first, I think, 18, 19 starts to begin the season, however many it's been, he has been through 6 innings in every single one. So Bryan Woo, the master of going 6 innings right now in the MLB. Then Marcus Stroman, on the other hand, goes 5 innings, gives up 2 earned runs on 6 hits and 2 walks, only 3 strikeouts, only has to use 90 pitches to get through those 5 innings. Would be high for anybody else, but for Marcus Stroman, that's all the Yankees were asking for. And then after that, and anyway, his ERA is 6.66 on the year. Marcus Stroman is a guy who the Yankees are really going to be trying to shop at this deadline, try to take on another bad contract. Because if they can get Stroman out the door, at least they don't have to keep him in the rotation, which it looks like they don't want to. But even if they were to take back a bad contract from a hitter or something, it would make sense for the Yankees. Then you look at both of these starting pitchers, right? Bryan Woo, he gets 14 swinging strikes on 103 pitches, so not quite as many as you'd expect for the fact that he had a no-hitter, until the last 5 outs of the game. Not even the last 6 outs of the game. Like I said in the intro, the last 5 outs of the game, everything goes haywire, and the Yankees are down to the last 5 outs. They come back, score 5 runs, tie the game, and win it in extras. But Bryan Woo, 14 swinging strikes on 103 pitches, 10 on 76 four-seam fastballs, 2 on 10 changeups, 2 on 9 changeups, 2 on 10 sweepers, and then on 5 sinkers and 3 sliders. And you look at this, 76 four-seam fastballs, 10 sweepers, 9 changeups. It's like he really just was so good with that pitch and was so confident in it that he just pumped that pitch in all these at-bats. I want to go through the at-bats for this start, Bryan Woo. Starting out with Jason Dominguez, walks him on 5 pitches, all four-seam fastballs, gives him 1 low that he fouls off, then goes up and away, walks him on 5 pitches, starts out mid-90s, worked his way up to 99 with his fastball, so the velocity was definitely there. Then goes ahead and walks Trent Grisham, throws him 5 four-seam fastballs and 1 sinker. Then Judge, a few four-seam fastballs, a few sweepers, which plays into how he attacks Judge later on. Then the final at-bat of the first inning gets Cody Bellinger to ground into a double play, throwing him 7 fastballs and a changeup in the middle. So it's funny because he's really cruised through the first couple innings. Expected batting average is extremely low on all of these, and he even struck out. Got 2 of his 5 strikeouts in the second inning. But he just threw so many four-seamers. 4 straight four-seamers to Austin Wells, got a strikeout there. 5 straight four-seamers to Jazz Chisholm, got a strikeout there. I mean, it's really hard to say that he's doing anything except for everything that doesn't show up on StatCast. Like, he definitely knows what he's doing. He's definitely, I mean, the pitch ability, the command, the control, you can talk about all those things, but to be able to throw a mid-90s fastball without getting as many strikeouts as he does and just get so much, such good results on batted balls, it's really unheard of. There's really nothing that I can compare Bryan Woo's fastball right now to. It's almost like an early Jacob deGrom. I mean, he was throwing 95, 96. He pumped it up to the upper 90s, and that's obviously got injured and stuff, but deGrom was throwing mid-90s kind of like this, and it came out of his hand in such a weird way. He became the ultimate tinkerer and ended up being unhittable for several years. Woo is doing something similar where he's got this 95-mile-an-hour fastball, 96, and guys can't hit it. The horizontal movement, which is so unusual on these pitches, gets Anthony Volpe to pop out. He's really cruising at this point, third inning. Yorby Vivas, 7 straight four-seam fastballs and gets him looking. And then Dominguez, get him to fly out with 2 four-seam fastballs. So he's just throwing so many fastballs. And it like, not like 50 to 60% fastball is a ton, but he's going, literally 3/4, 75% fastball. He's still cruising against Grisham, Judge, Bellinger, and that's the 4th inning. But then it starts to get weird, because you go to the 5th inning, expected batting averages on the Chisholm out, 240. Expected batting average on the Ben Rice ground out, 340. And then expected batting average on Austin Wells ground out, 490. So our defense was doing a hell of a job keeping the ball in the infield. As a lot of these were just screamers in, towards first base, towards second base, towards short. So the fact that we were able to snare a lot of these balls and keep them in the infield, I want to give a lot of credit to our infield defense right now. Definitely massively improved since earlier in the year. A lot of different players, in those positions. But, so Austin Wells, 490 expected batting average, doesn't get out of the infield. And then you go to the 6th inning. He's still going strong. Anthony Volpe flies out, 0.30 expected batting average, straight to Julio. Yorby Vivas pops out to JP, 0 expected batting average. And then Jason Dominguez, you get this was probably his best sequencing of the night, where he throws a 4-seam, then a changeup, 4-seam, then changeup, then gets him on a called strike at the top of the zone throwing that sinker. And Cal, there was a great Pitching Ninja interview clip that he posted today with Bryan Woo, where he says, it looks like Cal's favorite pitch to call for you is that, that inside sinker, especially on the lefties. And Woo was like, yeah, he loves calling that pitch. And it's awesome because it really does look like his 4-seam fastball is the same velocity, and the way that his 4-seamer has such a good horizontal break. Those pitches play off each other so well. Anyway, you get Jason Dominguez to end the 6th inning. Then when you get into the 7th, you get a little bit lucky because the 3 outs that he got this inning, Trent Grisham ground out, 470 expected batting average. Aaron Judge fly out, 0.50 expected batting average, but it is Aaron Judge. You threw him 2 sweepers, which he easily could have hit those. The second one, which you got him out on, was a really good pitch right on the edge. The first one was in the zone, though. And then Bellinger, 360 expected batting average. So after all these high expected batting averages, yes, Bryan Woo had a no-hitter, with 5 outs to go in the game, but obviously luck came into play to get him to that point. So when it normalizes the next inning, obviously Bryan Woo is taking these physical stats as high as a human possibly can. The most impressive thing is everything that didn't show up on StatCast is Bryan Woo, the way that he works with Cal to call the right pitches. Because when it's just 4-seam fastballs, and then a few sinkers, everybody else gets destroyed when they do that. So Bryan Woo is just really one of a kind, in being able to do this. But then the eighth inning comes around. Jazz breaks up the no-hitter, singles on a ground ball, 460 expected batting average. Ben Rice comes in, singles on a ground ball, 450 xBA. First pitch on the four-seamer. And then Austin Wells hits a sac fly. They score their first run. And that was it in the eighth inning. There was high expected batting averages all over this no-hitter for Bryan Woo, but that's what it's going to look like at any different point. And if he could have gotten through those last 5 outs without it normalizing, it would have just been that much more of an anomaly. But the fact that our bullpen comes in and allows all of this to happen. Matt Brash comes in right after Wu allows that sac fly. The no-hitter's already gone. The shutout's already gone. He's on 103 pitches. So you bring in Matt Brash to face Volpe. And Matt Brash, he goes slider sinker all the time. He gets Volpe. And then this is where things get bad. Stanton pinch hits, homers off of Brash, scores Ben Rice. Now the game is 3-5. And it's tough because the homer was on, a sinker that was absolutely hanging, middle basically for Stanton, who's a pinch hitter who that's exactly what he's looking for. Matt Brash should be able to get away with that, but his approach based on these first 3 pitches is live on the edges. That first one, call the ball way up and in, but it's a nasty pitch. The second one gets called a strike, and it was a good call by the ump. Barely catches the edge, really good pitch. Throws that slider, catches the edge of the zone, but just barely. No way anybody's gonna really want to swing at that. Then the third pitch up and away, but then why do you have to leave it middle? When your pitches move so much, sometimes they just move into the wrong spot, move into the path of the bat. And, some hitters, they do a good job of getting in the way of the ball. And that's what Stanton did here. Dominguez then comes in, flies out. And then late in the game, Munoz then gets into it in the 9th inning. Grisham singles off of him. Judge flies out. Bellinger singles. Chisholm gets 4 sliders and flies out. When you look at everything that happened in this game, our guys were sequencing well, but they're going up against one of the best offenses in the AL. It's a hard-fought battle, and there's just not a great answer for this happening. Your best guys were out there, and they fell a little bit short. And it sucks because it looked like you were doing so well, and then everything came home, kind of and crashed. But this is why you just can't get too emotional, because if you were too excited about the no-hitter, then you're going to be too bummed about losing one game. And you really just have to go back out there today. Now we're in Detroit, facing the best team in baseball, facing the best pitcher in baseball today, Tarek Skubal, for the second time this year. And we had a little bit of luck against him earlier in the year, so we really need to continue that. The Tigers came here and absolutely dominated us in the beginning of the season. We thought, it was a real struggle for our team. But now you see that Tigers team is just the best in baseball. They're one of the best teams in baseball. They're the Dodgers. So it's another big time test, and you can't say that we succeeded against the Yankees because we got swept. But I'll be damned if we didn't show something. Scored quite a few runs, averaged more runs than we probably expected to. Scored 5 and then 6 the last 2 games of the series. 3 the day before. Didn't get shut out or anything, although it looked like you might on Monday. And then, the pitching, there's all sorts of positive signs in the pitching. In the expected numbers, in the actual stats and what the pitchers were doing. But our offense cannot hit the breaking balls late in the game. And this is the last thing I want to talk about is you look at the Yankees. Marcus Stroman, 6 swinging strikes on 90 pitches. 93-mile-an-hour average exit velocity. Obviously, he got anytime, his ERA is already high. He's one of the worst pitchers that there is. But he comes out, throws 38 sinkers, 14 slurves, 13 cutters, 13 curves, 10 splitters, 2 sliders, just enough to keep the Mariners, at bay and only get a few runs off of him. Then Clayton Beeter comes in. He goes 31-9, 4 seams to sliders, and gets 2 whiffs on each, 4 on 40 pitches. JT Brubaker comes and kills us with a changeup, one of our worst enemies right now, probably number 2. And then, he gets 2 whiffs on 5 changeups, which is to be expected at this point from the lineup. Then Ian Hamilton comes in, goes sinker slider, and he ends up getting 2 whiffs on 4 sliders. So, again, just killing us. Then Devin Williams comes in, throws us 6 changeups and 1 fastball to get a clean inning at work, win the game. We're really struggling to hit these breaking balls, and I don't know what's going to change, but it's timing. It's as much of an art as it is a science. You can't have knots in your swing. You got to get in the way of the ball. And I don't know what to say other than you did well against Skubal earlier in the year, so you got a great opportunity to face him again. And if anybody can do it, hopefully it's you. Because you've seen him before. He throws that low 90s fastball that the Mariners can be really good against. And also, if you have a good outing against Skubal, or if you do well against Skubal today, hopefully that gives you confidence the rest of the way in your ability to be more complete hitters. But we need to be a more complete hitting team, going up against the best team in the AL now. Obviously, there's a frustrating series against the Yankees, but we put it behind us and we go 1-0 today. So Skubal against Castillo, man, if Castillo can hold this line, I know pitching wins are not as analytical of a stat, right? It's not all that stoic of a stat because you're not just controlling what you can control. It has a lot to do with your entire team's performance and stuff. But if Luis Castillo can hold the line to the same level Tarek Skubal does, and we can really have a pitching duel tonight that doesn't just go in one direction, man, this is going to be a good game. And it's going to be similar to playoff baseball. If we get into the wild card and then we win a wild card series, this is where we could be playing. They could be the top seed. So I'm going to say we win 6-4. It just feels like this lineup is due for something. There's been some really good games as of recently, but it's due for a major change. We saw Randy, he's starting to really normalize. He is absolutely scorching the ball right now. I think everybody else is just going to start adapting to these breaking balls a little bit better because there's nothing else that you can be more ready to do better at than that. So I hope we come in here and looking at Skubal, obviously, he throws so many 4 seams and sinkers. It's a Mariner's dream. I don't expect him to throw. I don't expect him to throw quite 50% fastballs. I expect maybe we'll see a little more of that changeup, which is an insane pitch. Maybe he decides to use the slider and curve more, which he doesn't really feature as of right now. But whatever he does, it's going to be a test for us. And then with Luis, man, if you can't throw that changeup, you got to be the best 3-pitch pitcher we've ever seen to get 6 innings against these guys. Now, and their lineup has some weak spots. You see Wensiel Perez hitting 3rd tonight. Can't even tell who's getting a day off. But Torkelson's been moved down to 5th. He's been really hot. Gleyber Torres obviously starting the All-Star game. Riley Green as well. McKinstry, an All-Star replacement. And then Baez starting the All-Star game. For sure a weird lineup, but they're the best team in baseball for a reason. So let's go see what they do today. Hopefully we can snag one from them on the front end of the series so that we don't have to win both of the games this weekend. But we'll see what happens. I'm going to say that 6-4. I'm going to say that Randy hits another homer. And I'm going to say that Castillo gets 7 strikeouts against this Tigers lineup. That being said, I've been Dom Skeen, your one-stop shop for the Mariners storylines on Seattle's Mind, and I will see you tomorrow to recap Game 94, first game of this series. That being said, see you guys tomorrow. Go Ams.